day 4. It's been a really, really interesting day, full of lots of highs and feeling really good, and also feeling really resigned and disappointed at the same time, because I broke my fast last night after just over 80 hours, and I've been pretty hard on myself about that. Really quite gutted. I got to the point where I was feeling quite unwell, really quite unwell, and really finding it quite hard just to walk. Evidently, when fasting, especially for more than just a day or two, you really want to be clearing some time in your schedule and not just working, flat out like what I had been. And I guess last night I crashed, and so I made myself a juice, a bit of cucumber and carrot and a little bit of beet, and down the hatch, and 40 minutes later I felt really good, like really, really good, and have been really clear ever since. Still disappointed, there's definitely disappointment there, and even still now there's disappointment there, just on myself for I guess it's, as I said yesterday, I'm really hard on myself, and what I had today was, a lot of support from people, saying, what you did do was just over 3 days of water fasting, and that's quite something. And I guess I'm really bad at not looking back at how far I've come. That's something we don't often do. We're always comparing ourselves to others or to how we think we should be, and we all too often forget just to look back. And it's a wise man once told me that rather than comparing yourself to others, just compare yourself to who you were yesterday, and that's really quite something. If we could all just compare ourselves, who we are today, to who we were yesterday, and every day make an improvement on that. It doesn't take long to all of a sudden, look back a few years and think, holy moly, I've come a fairly long way. And after a couple of years of my journey and going from farming and the family to stepping out of farming full time and into consultancy and into creating a life for myself that really for me is impactful and important and purposeful, and really every day going hard out doing that. It's not very often I stop and look back, and so there's been some highs there today, and looking back, and also obviously eating. I've had some gorgeous fruit. I tried these things today, tamarillos, they're quite nice. Also tried, what did I try? It was pawpaw, that's what I tried, pawpaw, just a soft fruit. Wasn't much flavour to it, but really nice texture. And some roasted veggies, some kumara and some broccoli, and man, it has been phenomenal. Just the flavours, my mouth seems to be refreshed, and it's like I'm tasting things for the first time, so that's been really amazing. Also bought myself today a pedal box for my guitar, so I'm playing all sorts of cool tunes on the guitar now with this wee pedal box, and sounds real cool, so really happy with that. Had some really cool conversations today, got a heap done on the computer. One really interesting conversation with a friend of mine, talking about a friend of theirs who was a doctor for a few decades, MD, and realising that the way in which we treat symptoms in human beings, it's not till you step out of that. It's the same within farming. The way that I teach farmers to look at their farm as a whole, system, the ecosystem that their farms are. That it's interesting to hear people in the medical industry having the same sort of epiphanies, like realising that the human body is just such a massively complex organism that treating individual parts of the human body, like we have heart specialists and lung specialists and brain specialists and nerve specialists and all these people focusing on individual parts of the body, when really the body's just this massively complex organism that, you know, everything you treat as far as symptoms has, you know, wider ripple effects, and we're not looking at, you know, removing or fixing the cause. It's always been about treating symptoms. If you look at, you know, any sort of treatment going to the doctor, there's no recommendations of diet, you know, there's no recommendations of you know, your thoughts and who you are and who you show up in the world. And I guess I was inspired by hearing what this woman had learnt, a different holistic way of you know, bringing health and resilience to a human being, and having it hit home to them like you know, all the years in medicine that you know, perhaps they spend all that time doing something that wasn't all that impactful and helpful. And it's the same as, you know, my journey with chemical agronomy and farming. The way in which I used to operate was we'd kill things that weren't, you know, useful, or we thought they weren't useful. When you're dealing with killing an insect with a broad spectrum insecticide on a crop paddock, you're killing one bad bug, but you're killing on average about 1,700 good bugs. That's just the bugs without going into the microorganisms. So it's the same with the human body. You know, we treat these things. I've got family members that have that are getting treatment or getting tested for thyroid not functioning and thyroid hyperactivity, and you know, there's talk of removing thyroids, and I'm just like, it's just, you know, it's crazy that we just go and remove bits of our bodies, you know, cut things out. But like the agricultural system, we just kill certain things that we don't see fit, and the ripple effects are just so massive. We have no idea. You know, one insect you've killed is another insect's food source and provide another role in the ecosystem, like pollination or, you know, what have you, that we don't even consider. And in a human body, it's no different. You know, we need to start looking at not only ourselves and others, but also this world we live in is just a massively complex organism that doesn't consist of individual things and individual, you know, abstract reductional things. It's everything is very closely connected and related. And it took me, you know, 30 odd years. It was really only the last not even 2 years that I've been thinking that way and seeing, you know, the effects of our actions in that way. You know, like now when I deal with farmers, it's not a case of will this action equal this result. It's like, well, let's weigh out the known impacts, the positive and negative, and then the possible impacts. You know, what possibly could we be affecting by making this choice? And then, you know, weighing up whether it's worth making that decision or whether it's worth considering something else and being open to other things. And that's how I've been able to learn so much, is just being open to, you know, new ideas, new thoughts. Some of the people that I listen to now, 5 years ago, I would not have listened to. You know, if someone had said to me fasting was a good idea 5 years ago, I would have been like, I'll be honest, I probably would have told them to, you know, in my head, F off, or maybe to their face. Yeah, I was a bit of a prick back then. But yeah, just realising today, like, wow, we've got a lot of work to do as a society, and, you know, this COVID thing's, you know, all the more, I guess, timely of a reminder that you know, our reductionist living and thinking model just isn't working. And so we need to start, you know, reconnecting with nature and reconnecting with ourselves. I know since my fast, I've been able to, you know, feel my body intuitively, and it was out of it. Like when I drank the juice, the vegetable juice, you know, 30 minutes later I could feel my body coming alive again, like all the limbs right out to my fingertips, out into my toes. I'm still very much tired. I've got a bit of sleep to catch up on, you might be able to tell, and still smashing out lots of work. But I tell you what, just being, you know, tuned into what my body was telling me, and just trusting it a bit. You know, of course, you know, tonight it would have been tempting to go ahead and make, you know, for instance, a good steak meal with some chips or something like that. But no, just my body's telling me I'm not quite ready for that. So tonight will be, just soft vegetables and a bit of fish actually tonight. I'm excited about that. But just being mindful of what we put into our bodies. I actually read an article this morning on how what we eat, the enzymes and the microbes within the food that we eat end up interacting with the enzymes and microbes in our bodies such that they affect gene expression and literally, like if for instance we're eating a vegetable, then a part of that vegetable on a microbiological level ends up living inside us. And so again, the reductional thinking about food, we just think we're putting these things into our mouths like they're just food, like a thing, when really they're in themselves a really massively complex organism, and we actually become part of that organism once we put that in our bodies. It's something that years ago I wouldn't have been open to, but now the science is actually coming out. And so just being mindful of what we do eat and how it does affect not just our mood and our performance and our resilience and our even our gene expression. It's been said that we only utilise about 8% of our total gene pool, and when we eat diverse whole foods, growing naturally, then we actually get genes expressing that weren't before, and often people dealing with illnesses that they've thought were hereditary or unable to do anything about, all of a sudden disappear. It's phenomenal. So definitely a lot going on in my head at the moment, thinking about how I want to live in the world and what I want to do with my time as far as teaching. And it's actually recently I've been having discussions with a few people in the Waitaki region about some sort of school program, aging from, well, my interest would be a program for children aged between 5 and right up until 7th form at high school, teaching kids and youth about the opportunity that their life is and the important roles that they could be playing in the world, and how needed it is for them to get excited about those opportunities, rather than I see too often people walking around resigned, and kids sort of resigned and dismissed, and I don't know what's brought that on, but all of a sudden it's cool to not care. And I'm just like, man, what is it that these kids are striving for? Is it really all about the Instagram likes and the next level on the computer game? I just can't imagine what it's like not to have. Well, actually, no, I can, because when I was a kid, I didn't have the opportunity to contribute. So what I want the program to be based upon is giving children an opportunity to create, things in their lives where they can contribute to the greater good of the world, and also just learn things that they're not taught in school. Learn how to budget, learn how to cook, and cook properly, grow vegetables, how to hunt, how to fish. How to have conversations, like how to communicate, how to listen. I don't know what it's going to look like, and if anyone's interested in supporting me with that, definitely send me a message or give me a call. I could definitely use some support, but just some program, making it fun, getting children reconnected to nature and to the possibilities of what there is to do in the world outside of the already laid out career paths that people jump on and spend money getting into debt with student loans, doing degrees that they don't use and are resigned about doing because they've spent so much time doing them. Then they get to the time where they want to do something or have to do something in that career path, and it's not what they want to do, but they've spent so much time doing it and training for it that they just do it anyway, and they mosey on through life even more resigned. And it's we only have to look at the depression and mental health statistics. It's so I'm pretty keen and really committed and dedicated to getting out to those young children and up and coming adults to really empower them to make choices for themselves and to do things that to them matter. So yeah, a bit going on tonight, and I do apologise for the tiredness, and tomorrow, I've got no doubt, after a good long sleep tonight, that I'll have all sorts of cool things to share with you tomorrow. But yeah, if you're interested in joining me and supporting me in this program for children, if you've got any ideas, I've certainly got lots. Do get in touch with me, leave me a comment, and yeah, let's see what we can do. Alright, cheers.